Every morning, your dog runs to you, tail wagging tongue out, and licks your hands like it's the most important thing in the world. You've probably thought it was just the taste of your skin, or maybe food. But what if I told you? It's none of those. The truth behind this simple act can change the way you see your dog forever. Because when they lick you every day, they're not just showing affection, they're sending you a message so powerful most owners miss it their entire lives. And today, I'm going to reveal 15 hidden behaviors dogs only show to the people they truly love. Number 10 is so surprising that many dog parents admitted they will never look at their pets the same way again. Now let's begin with the very first one. A moment every dog lover has experienced, but not everyone fully understands. You open the door, don't even get a chance to take off your shoes, and a little storm rushes at you. Number 1. The sacred reunion. You open your front door after what feels like just another ordinary day. But to your dog, it is the greatest moment of their world. Before you can even slip off your shoes, a whirlwind of fur and joy crashes into you. Their paws leap up, their tail thrashes like a flag in the wind. Their voice rises in little whines of relief, as though you had returned from a long voyage across the ocean. To us, it feels like excitement. To them, it is something deeper, almost sacred. In the wild, when wolves reunite after separation, they greet one another with intensity, not as a polite gesture, but as a survival bond, a ritual of love and loyalty. Your dog has inherited this ancient instinct, so when you walk through that door, your presence is not just welcomed. It is celebrated like the sun breaking through after a storm. And here is the truth many owners overlook this moment, is your dog's silent declaration of devotion. It is their way of saying, "You are my world. Nothing matters more than you coming back." Now, once the thunderstorm of joy passes, something quieter happens. The energy shifts. Instead of leaping, they settle. They press their warm body close, curling beside you, as if your presence is the only home they need. And in that stillness lies another secret one that reveals just how deeply they belong to you. Number 2. The night watcher. When the joy of reunion fades and the house grows quiet, your dog makes another choice that speaks louder than words. They could retreat to their own bed, curl into a corner, or find a spot by the door. But more often than not, they don't. Instead, they press their body against yours, burrow beneath your blanket, or nestle at the small of your back, as though you were the safest place in the world. To them, sleep is not just rest. It is trust. In the language of the pack, sleeping together is a vow. Wolves in the wild lay side by side not for warmth alone, but for survival. To close their eyes in another's presence is to say, "I believe you will keep me safe. I believe we belong." When your dog chooses you as their pillow, they are surrendering their most vulnerable state to your care. And something extraordinary happens in those quiet hours. As their breathing steadies, yours begins to match. A rhythm forms, inhale, exhale, heartbeat to heartbeat, and with it, a flood of oxytocin. The love hormone surges through both of you. Science calls it bonding. But to your dog, it is simply love, made visible in silence. And here's where the story deepens. In those nights where you feel the weight of their body pressed gently against yours, you are not just sharing a bed. You are becoming their world one heartbeat at a time. And with every look they give you in the daylight, that silent trust grows even stronger. Number 3. Soft eyes that speak. After the nights of silent trust, there comes a moment in daylight that almost feels supernatural. You may be reading a book, sipping your coffee, or lost in thought when suddenly you feel that gaze. Your dog is watching you not with sharp alertness or playful mischief, but with eyes, softened lids, heavy as though they are whispering without sound. It is not a stare of dominance. It is an offering, a surrender, a secret spoken only between two souls. In human language, we would call it eye contact. In the language of dogs, it is far more profound. Research shows that when a dog locks eyes with you, gently oxytocin once again rises in both of your bodies, the same hormone that floods through mothers and newborn babies as they bond. But beyond science lies something deeper, something poetry can describe better than data. It is as though their eyes become a mirror reflecting not just your face, but your heart. Many owners miss the weight of this moment, brushing it off as mere curiosity. Yet in truth, it is one of the purest confessions of love a dog can give. It is their way of saying, I see you, I trust you, I choose you. And when you respond, perhaps, with a gentle touch to their head, a smile that softens your own eyes, or a quiet word spoken into the air, the circle completes. Your heart and theirs beat closer, linked by a thread invisible to the world, but unbreakable to both of you. And then one day, this love will not just be seen in their eyes, but carried in the small gifts they lay at your feet. Number 4. The gift bearer, it begins innocently. You are sipping your morning coffee, perhaps lost in thought when you hear the soft padding of paws behind you. And then, placed gently at your feet, lies an object. It might be a ragged toy, a chewed-up sock, or even something you never wish to see again. To us, it looks like clutter. To them, it is treasure. And more importantly, it is an offering. Dogs are the descendants of wolves, and wolves share what they value most with those they trust. A fresh kill, a prized bone, a piece of the world they call their own, all are placed before their chosen companion as a sign of loyalty and kinship. That ancient instinct lives on in your home, disguised in the shape of slobbery tennis balls and torn slippers. So when your dog brings you something, it is not mischief. It is a love letter written in the only language they know. To refuse it to scold them is to close the door on their heart. To accept it with a smile or a kind word is to tell them, I see you. I receive your love. And the beauty of it is this: they don't measure the worth of the object. They measure the worth of the bond. But notice what happens next. The same dog who lays gifts at your feet will transform in an instant when a stranger approaches. Their playful offering will turn into something else entirely, the unspoken promise to stand guard over the one they adore. Number 5. The guardian's instinct. One moment, they are at your feet, tail wagging proudly, offering you a tattered toy. The next, their entire body shifts. Their ears prick forward, their eyes sharpen, and suddenly they are standing taller, placing themselves between you and the stranger at your door. The gift giver becomes the guardian. It is not training, and it is not a trick. It is instinct born of love. In the wild, wolves protect their pack with unwavering ferocity. A threat, no matter how small, is met with vigilance. Your dog, though far removed from the forest, carries that same bloodline, that same duty carved deep into their heart. When they step forward, when they bark, or when they quietly block your path, they are telling you something simple yet profound: I would risk myself for you. Even the smallest of dogs, the ones who could never win a fight, will summon courage larger than their body. Because protection is not about size. It is about devotion. They read the subtle cues in a stranger's voice, the tension in their posture, the shift of the air long before you notice. And they choose to act not for themselves, but for you. And here is where their heart speaks loudest. Once the moment passes, once the stranger is gone, their body softens again. They return to play, to cuddles, to quiet peace at your side. Love for them is not only joy in your presence, but the promise to guard it. And sometimes that promise is shown in an even greater act of trust, exposing the most vulnerable part of themselves before you. Number 6. The vulnerable heart. After the storm of barking fades and the shadow of danger slips away, your dog does something almost paradoxical. They roll onto their back paws, curled belly, exposed eyes, glancing up at you with a silent invitation. In the animal world, this is the ultimate act of surrender. To bare the soft belly, the very place where life can be ended with one strike, is to place absolute trust in another being. No creature gives this gift lightly. In the wild, even wolves rarely expose their underbelly, except before those they trust with their very survival. When your dog does this before you, it is not merely a plea for belly rubs. It is a message etched into the language of instinct: I give you my most fragile self, because I believe you will never harm me. And when you kneel beside them, when your hand brushes gently across their fur, you are not just rubbing a stomach. You are sealing a covenant of loyalty and love. Each stroke whispers back, your trust is safe with me. But notice the beauty of this ritual. Even if you don't touch, even if you simply smile and let them rest there, the act remains sacred. Their trust has already been given, their respect already declared. And from that position of vulnerability, another instinct awakens the need to follow. For dogs' love is not only shown in moments of surrender, but in the quiet, steady choice to walk wherever you lead. Number 7. The shadow that follows, from the belly exposed in trust, comes another gesture, quieter yet constant, the choice to follow. You stand, and they rise. You walk into the kitchen, and the click of paws trails behind you. You step onto the balcony, and there they are framed in the doorway. Even when you close the bathroom door, their silhouette waits patiently on the other side. It is not boredom. It is not neediness. It is devotion embodied in movement. For pack animals, separation is danger. To be apart from the leader is to risk being lost, to risk being left behind. And though your living room is far from the wild forest, your dog still feels the same pull of loyalty. To them, you are not simply a caretaker. You are the compass of their world, the one point they cannot afford to lose sight of. Some breeds are more famous for this cling, like Labradors or Golden Retrievers, but no matter the size or lineage, the message is the same. Where you go, I belong. And there is something almost poetic in that shadow. It is love that does not ask, does not demand, but simply remains steady, silent, ever present. And yet love is not always content to follow at a distance. Sometimes it insists on breaking the invisible space between you, reaching out in the simplest of gestures, a paw placed on your leg, or a head resting across your lap as though to say, "Don't forget, I am here." Number 8. The gentle reminder. It begins when you are lost in your own world. A book open on your lap, the glow of the television washing the room, or the steady tap of your fingers on a keyboard. And then, without warning, a small weight interrupts your rhythm. A paw rests gently on your thigh. A head nudges between your arm and your work. A warm muzzle presses against your lap, insistent yet tender. It is not greed for food or demand for play. It is a whisper made flesh, remember me. I am here. Dogs live in a universe of presence. They do not measure time by clocks, but by connection. When they reach for you in these quiet moments, they are not seeking distraction. They are seeking closeness and anchor to remind both of you that love does not need grand gestures to exist. Sometimes it is only the soft weight of a paw, the brush of fur, the steady rhythm of shared breath. And beneath that touch lies something deeper. Science has shown that these moments of contact lower blood pressure, calm racing hearts, and release endorphins in both human and dog alike. But beyond the biology, it is something far more intimate. It is your dog's way of weaving themselves into your story, stitch by stitch, moment by moment, until they are inseparable from your life. Yet even more astonishing is what happens when the roles reverse. In times when words fail you and silence fills the air, it is not you who reaches for them. It is they who reach for you, sensing your pain before you even speak it aloud. Number 9. The silent healer. There are days when life presses heavily on your shoulders, when words dry up in your throat, and no explanation seems enough. You may sit quietly, staring into space, carrying a weight that feels invisible to others. But not to your dog. Without command, without hesitation, they come closer. They lower themselves beside you, resting their head on your chest, their breath falling in rhythm with yours, as if to say, "Give me part of your pain. I can carry it." This is not training. No book or class can teach such empathy. It is instinct woven into their soul, a sixth sense, that hears emotions more clearly than words. Scientists have tried to explain it, measuring cortisol levels and brainwaves, but science can only scratch the surface of something so deeply ancient and tender. To your dog, your sorrow is not invisible. It is a call they must answer. And in that quiet comfort, something extraordinary happens. Your breathing slows, your heartbeat steadies. The storm inside begins to ease, not because the world has changed, but because you are no longer facing it alone. They have become your silent therapist, your wordless companion, your healer draped in fur. Yet even in this profound empathy, there is a gesture even simpler, even more primal, that ties their love back to the very first moments of their life. For when they cannot speak, when they cannot fix, they return to the one instinct that has always soothed them, the tender act of licking given to you each day like a blessing. Number 10. The devoted kiss. After the quiet comfort of lying by your side, your dog often turns to a gesture so small it could be mistaken for nothing. A gentle lick upon your hand, your face, your arm. It may seem ordinary, even routine, but in truth, it is one of the oldest languages of love they know. From their very first days as blind, fragile puppies, they learned to lick their mother for warmth, for nourishment, for connection. Later, they licked their litter mates in play, building bonds that stitched the pack together. And now, they lick you, because in their heart, you are family. But there is more beneath that tender kiss. Licking is not only affection, it is therapy. Studies show that dogs release endorphins when they lick, soothing themselves in moments of stress, calming the storms within their minds. To you, it is a tickle or a damp brush against the skin. To them, it is both love given and love received, a sacred ritual of belonging. And here lies the wonder: they do not choose to do this with everyone. Not with strangers, not with passing acquaintances. They reserve this intimate act for those they trust with their soul. Every time their tongue grazes your hand, they are declaring without words, "You are my comfort. You are my safe place." And yet, as deep as this love runs, it sometimes takes on a playful edge, a reminder of the puppy they once were. For love does not always stay soft and solemn. Sometimes it nips lightly, playfully, binding you in the oldest game of all. Number 11. The playful bite. Just after a gentle kiss, when you think the moment has softened into stillness, your dog may surprise you with something more mischievous. Their teeth graze your skin, not sharp enough to hurt, but enough to make you laugh or flinch in mock protest. This is no act of aggression. It is play, the oldest language of youth, that they never outgrow a reminder that beneath their loyalty beats the heart of an eternal puppy. In their earliest days, pups nip at one another, testing boundaries, learning how to soften their bite so as not to wound. It is the first lesson in love, the balance between strength and tenderness. When your dog nibbles you, now they are not just recalling those childhood games. They are inviting you back into the pack, saying, "You are one of us. You belong." The sensation may seem small, but the meaning is profound. It is their way of weaving you into their rituals, making you more than a caretaker, more than a friend. You become their playmate, their equal, their partner in the ancient dance of joy. And in those fleeting moments, the boundaries between human and animal blur into something simpler. Two souls connected by laughter. Yet even in play, they never forget the deeper need that drives them. For when the game ends, when the laughter fades, they return to a gesture quieter, but just as powerful. A single paw rests on your leg, a soft reminder that beyond the games, beyond the mischief, their love is steady, and their need for closeness never wanes. Number 12. The gentle touch. After the laughter of playful nibbles fades, your dog finds a quieter way to speak, one that needs no sound at all. You might be deep in thought, your mind tangled with worries, when suddenly you feel it, the soft weight of a paw upon your leg. It lingers there, steady, unhurried, as though time itself has paused for a single message. I am here with you. This gesture is often misunderstood. Some see it as begging, others as impatience. But those who listen with their hearts know it is something much deeper. It is not a request for food, nor a command to play. It is an anchor, a tether between souls, your dog's way of pulling you back from drifting too far into your own storms. Dogs sense emotions in ways we cannot explain. They read the tremor in your breath, the heaviness in your silence, the shift in your posture when the weight of the world presses too hard. And in that moment, they do not offer words or solutions. They offer presence. A paw warm and gentle placed where it cannot be ignored, reminding you that love is not about fixing, it is about staying. And here is the marvel: even if you push them away in frustration, even if you scold them in haste, the touch will return. Their forgiveness flows as easily as their devotion, because to them love is never about perfection. It is about persistence. And their next gesture proves it in the most radiant way, the wag of a tail that forgives before you've even asked. Number 13. The forgiving tail moments of frustration are inevitable. Perhaps you step too quickly and bump into them, or your voice rises in impatience when the day has already worn you thin. For a brief second, guilt may flood your chest. But before you can even form an apology, there it is, the steady thump of a tail against the floor, the soft shimmer in their eyes that says, "It's forgotten." Dogs do not dwell in the past. They do not keep records of wrongs or tally mistakes like humans often do. To them, love is not a ledger to be balanced, but a river that keeps flowing unbroken, no matter the stones that fall into its path. The wag of their tail is not simply excitement. It is forgiveness incarnate, a rhythm of joy that drowns out anger before it can take root. Watch closely, and you will see it in the smallest gestures, the way they nudge back toward you, the way their body leans once more into your side, as though nothing ever fractured between you. Their loyalty does not falter. Their heart does not hold grudges. It returns over and over, as steady as the sunrise. And within that forgiveness lies a lesson few humans truly grasp, that love can be renewed in every moment, no matter the missteps. And just when you think this bond cannot grow any deeper, they tilt their head, ears shifting, eyes bright, as if trying to catch every word your heart is whispering. Number 14. The listening tilt, just when their tail has reminded you of forgiveness. Another gesture follows so endearing it feels almost human. You speak to them, maybe a casual remark, maybe a story whispered into the quiet of the room, and suddenly their head shifts. One ear dips, the other rises, their eyes widen, and the world pauses in that tilted glance. It is as if they are hanging on to every syllable, trying to catch meaning not in your words, but in your soul. Scientists tell us that head tilting sharpens a dog's ability to locate sounds to separate familiar tones from the background noise of life. But ask any dog owner, and they'll tell you this: it feels like being truly heard. The tilt is not just mechanics of hearing. It is the poetry of listening. And in those moments, when the weight of your story lingers in the air, their silent response can be more healing than advice from any friend. That tilt says, "I am here. I am listening. Speak even if I don't understand every word." For many who feel unseen in the world, this small act becomes a lifeline proof that presence alone can heal. But the miracle does not stop there. For over time, your dog learns not only to listen, but to speak back not in your language, but in their own, a chorus of whines, howls, and murmurs that transforms silence into dialogue. And that conversation becomes the final bridge between hearts. Number 15. The voice of love. After all the gestures of devotion, the gazes, the gifts, the touches, the forgiveness, comes the moment when your dog decides silence is no longer enough. You hear it first as a soft whine, almost like a question. Then perhaps a gentle growl, a playful bark, or even a low, soulful howl that rises like music from the depths of their chest. This is not noise. This is language. It is your dog's way of crossing the final bridge of turning love into sound. Breeds like Huskies and Malamutes are famous for this symphony, but even the quietest of companions will eventually find their voice with you. And what is extraordinary is not the sound itself, but the intent behind it. They are not simply barking at shadows or howling at the wind. They are speaking to you, responding to the conversations you have built together through years of touch, trust, and time. To some, these sounds may seem like quirks of behavior, but to those who listen, they are proof that the bond has deepened beyond command and obedience. It has become dialogue, a rhythm of call and response that no dictionary can define. And so when your dog murmurs to you in their own way, understand what it means. You are no longer just owner and pet. You are companions in a language older than words, a love story told through eyes, through breath, through sound. And in that conversation, you become their universe, the one voice they will always answer, the one presence they will always seek. When you step back and see it all together, the storm of their welcome, the quiet of their sleep beside you, the gifts, the protection, the forgiveness, the tilt of their head, and even the sound of their voice, one truth becomes undeniable. To your dog, you are not just a person. You are their home, their anchor, their world entire. Dogs do not love us for our wealth, our beauty, or our perfection. They love us for something far simpler and far rarer. They love us because we are theirs. Every lick, every paw, every glance is a reminder that you are their chosen heart in a world that often feels uncertain. And perhaps in their silent way, they are also teaching us something: that love does not keep score, that joy can be found in presence alone, and that forgiveness is the purest gift we can give. A dog's love is not measured in years, but in moments stitched together until they become eternity. So the next time your dog presses close, tilts their head, or wags their tail with a forgiveness, you don't deserve pause. And remember, this is not ordinary. This is extraordinary. This is love in its most honest form. And if you felt even a flicker of truth in these words, then this channel is for you. Here we don't just talk about raising dogs, we celebrate living with them with love, empathy, and open hearts. So if you want to understand your best friend even more deeply, make sure to hit subscribe now and never miss the stories that remind us why dogs are and always will be family. Have you ever stopped to wonder why your dog licks your hands every single day? It's not because there's salt on your skin. And it's not because you smell like food. The real reason might catch you off guard and touch you more deeply than you ever expected. Because if you've always assumed it was just a habit, then you might be missing something far more profound. A silent emotional message that only a dog can deliver. A message that says, without words, "You're mine. I trust you with everything." In this video, I'll share 10 special behaviors that dogs reserve only for the people they truly love. And number 8, that one alone has made millions of dog owners completely rethink the way they treat their fur babies. So if you love dogs and want to better understand the emotional language they speak, don't forget to subscribe, because you won't want to miss heartwarming videos like this. But before we dive into the full list, let's begin with the one gesture that starts it all. The very first lick. Because what seems small may be the clearest sign you've ever been loved. You probably remember the first time it happened. You sat down, maybe after a long day, and she walked over, calm and quiet, and licked your hand. Just once. Gentle. Intentional. It might have felt like nothing. Maybe you wiped it off. Maybe you smiled and said, "You're sweet." But for your dog, that moment wasn't small. That first lick was her way of saying, "You're my person. I trust you with everything." In a groundbreaking study published in Science 2015, researchers from Japan discovered that when dogs and their humans lock eyes, even briefly, both experience a powerful surge of oxytocin, the hormone responsible for bonding and love. In fact, oxytocin increased by up to 300% in humans and 130% in dogs during mutual gaze. But here's what most people miss. The same neurochemical surge happens with affectionate licking. Licking is one of the earliest bonding behaviors in the canine world. Puppies lick their mothers for warmth, safety, and reassurance. When your dog licks you today, she's not just showing affection. She's reconnecting with that primal instinct. She's saying, "I feel safe. I feel home." For older men who never expected to bond with a dog, this tiny act can mean more than 1,000 words, especially when you live alone, when the world feels distant. That one lick says, "I see you. I choose you." And once it begins, it rarely stops. But how do you know if it's always love behind the lick? Could it be something else, like stress, anxiety, or even a silent cry for help? Let's take a closer look. She licks your hand, your arm, maybe even your face. Every time you come home, every time you sit down. Sometimes it feels like too much, but what if it isn't just affection? What if it's something deeper, quieter? In a 2011 study published in Frontiers in Psychology, scientists found that affectionate interaction between humans and dogs, such as gentle petting and licking, not only raises oxytocin but also helps reduce cortisol, the stress hormone. This means that when your dog licks you obsessively or suddenly, she might be trying to calm herself down, not just bond with you. Many older men assume their dog is just being clingy. But in truth, she may be sensing your stress and trying to soothe both of you the only way she knows how. You've had those days when the world was heavy and she came over, laid her head in your lap and licked. Not for play, not for food, just to stay connected. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. Her way of saying, "I feel your storm. Let's ride it out together. Still, stress licking can become a coping mechanism. So how do you tell the difference between love and anxiety disguised as devotion? Well, sometimes she doesn't just lick. She stands between you and someone else. And when that happens, what exactly is she trying to say? She doesn't bark much. She doesn't growl unless she has to. But when a stranger walks up your driveway, she positions herself just between you and them, without a word from you. It's not training. It's not fear. It's loyalty, silent and instinctive. A 2021 study in Scientific Reports found that dogs raised closely with humans show stronger oxytocin-linked social behaviors, such as guarding, shadowing, and interrupting unwanted contact, compared to wolves or dogs raised without tight human bonding. In short, they don't just learn to protect, they choose to. When she sits at your feet and watches a guest with suspicion, that's not misbehavior. That's love in the form of vigilance. For older men especially, those who've lived through disappointment or loss, this quiet guard becomes more than a dog. She becomes a trusted presence, a gatekeeper. She doesn't protect out of obedience. She does it because, in her eyes, you are the treasure. And when she finally relaxes, tail gently wagging, only then does she say, "They're okay. You're still safe." But what if her real message isn't in the way she moves, but in the way she looks at you when no one else is around? Eyes soft, still, speaking louder than words. Let's look into that next. It happens when you least expect it. You're sipping your morning coffee, and you look up, and there she is, just watching you. Not staring, not waiting for food or a walk, just soft eyes, calm breath, and silence. It's not an accident. According to the same 2015 study from Science, the oxytocin loop triggered by mutual gaze between humans and dogs is one of the deepest bonding mechanisms in the animal kingdom, surpassing even some human-to-human responses. That means when she looks at you, not with tension, but with slow blinks and soft focus, she's not just looking, she's connecting on a hormonal, emotional, and primal level. You're doing it too. Your body releases oxytocin at the same time. It's like two old souls silently saying, "I'm here. You matter. I trust you." For many men over 60, it's hard to trust people again. But your dog? She never lies with her eyes. No agenda, no judgment, just presence. If you've ever caught yourself whispering to her in that moment, even if it's just a simple "good girl," know this: she's heard more in your silence than most people ever did in your words. And just when you think that look says it all, she curls up beside you, close enough to touch, but quiet enough to let you breathe. Let's go there next. She has her own bed, a soft one, maybe even orthopedic. But when the night falls, or the wind picks up outside, where does she go? Not to the corner, not to the couch. She curls up beside you, back pressed to your leg, or even under your blanket. And that means everything. In a 2013 study published on PubMed, researchers observed that when dogs reunited with their owners after a brief absence, oxytocin levels rose significantly, especially when physical closeness followed. It wasn't just the reunion that mattered. It was the contact, the presence, the safety of shared space. For a pack animal like your dog, sleeping near someone is not casual. It's sacred. In the wild, only the trusted sleep beside the alpha. In your home, you are her alpha and her home. She chooses proximity not for warmth, but for peace. She listens to your breathing, syncs her rhythm with yours. You fall asleep, and so does she. Two hearts, one silence. And you might not notice it right away. But those nights you sleep better, she was there. She is your rest. And as soon as you get up, even just to grab your coffee, guess who's already trailing right behind you? Let's follow that next. She doesn't need an invitation. You stand up to grab something from the kitchen, and there she is, right behind you. You walk to the garage, and she follows. You head to the bathroom. She waits outside the door like a quiet sentinel. It's not boredom, and it's not obsession. It's loyalty. Dogs are pack animals by nature. But in today's world, you are her pack. And when she follows you room to room, she isn't tracking movement. She's tracking connection. It's her way of saying, wherever you go, I'll be nearby. Older men who never considered themselves emotional often find this behavior both puzzling and comforting. You might chuckle and say, she's like my shadow. But to her, you're not just the man who feeds her. You're the one constant in a world full of noise. She doesn't follow you because she's afraid. She follows you because she feels safest near your steps. That quiet companionship, that's not dependence. That's devotion. And you'll notice, she doesn't need attention every time. Just being near you is enough. But sometimes, she wants to remind you she's there, not by following, but with the softest touch. A paw, a lean, a quiet nudge. And that's where we're headed next. You're watching TV. The house is quiet. No barking, no whining. Then you feel it. A soft paw on your knee. No urgency, no demand. Just presence. She's not begging. She's not asking. She's reminding you, I'm here, are you? Dogs often use physical contact to regulate emotion, not just their own, but yours too. A 2017 paper published in Frontiers in Psychology observed that dogs use touch as a social regulator, especially when their human is emotionally off balance or fatigued. They sense shifts in your body language, tone, breathing, and respond before you even speak. Older men often carry quiet grief, hidden stress. But your dog? She reads it like a scent. When she leans her head against your chest or rests her paw on your hand, she isn't just offering comfort. She's absorbing the weight. This isn't attention-seeking, it's connection-seeking. And in that touch, she asks a question. Can I stay close, even in your silence? Some people call it clingy, but you know better. It's trust, in its gentlest form. But not all dogs lick or paw. Some do something older, more primal. They nibble, softly, carefully. And if yours does, you're about to understand why. She doesn't lick like other dogs. Instead, she comes close and gives a gentle nibble on your hand, your sleeve, maybe even your ear. No growl, no pressure. Just the softest grip between her teeth. And you wonder, what's she trying to say? This isn't aggression. It's affection, rooted in memory. As puppies, dogs learn bite control through play with their siblings. A soft nip means, I'm here, I trust you, let's bond. That lesson doesn't vanish. It evolves. In a 2025 study published in Translational Psychiatry, researchers observed that oxytocin treatment in maternal dogs restored affectionate licking and grooming behaviors, like nuzzling, licking, and gentle mouthing, especially in those genetically predisposed to emotional disconnect. What this tells us? These gestures are coded deep in the brain. When your dog nibbles gently, she's expressing inherited love, something she doesn't share with everyone. Older men sometimes misread it. "She's play biting me," they say, half annoyed. But your dog? She's speaking her first language, one of connection, one of memory, one of family. Because in her world, light contact is a heavy promise. "We're pack. I've got you." And soon, when you speak to her about anything or nothing, she'll do something even more surprising. She'll tilt her head. And what that means might just break your heart. You're talking, maybe about your day, maybe about nothing. And then she does it. That slow, thoughtful tilt of the head, ears perked, eyes locked in. And just like that, it feels like she's actually listening. This isn't coincidence. Dogs tilt their heads not just to locate sound, but to interpret it. The pitch of your voice, the tremble behind your words, the rhythm of your breath. She isn't decoding your grammar. She's reading your heart. And the more time she spends with you, the better she gets. Some dogs even glance towards smart collars or the door, mirroring routines so well you'd think they could read clocks. But what she's really reading is you. For older men who often carry unspoken thoughts, that head tilt becomes more than adorable. It becomes permission. Permission to say things you haven't said in years. Because somehow, when she tilts her head, you feel understood. She doesn't need to fix anything. She just wants to be with you in that moment. And what's even more powerful, sometimes she talks back, not with words, but with sound, from her own chest. And if you've ever heard it, you already know. It's not noise. It's something sacred. Let's go there. It's early morning. You stretch, yawn, and suddenly you hear it. A low whine, a soft groan, a tiny howl that seems to answer your breath. She's not in pain. She's not hungry. She's talking back. Dogs vocalize for many reasons, but the soft, low sounds they make just for you? Those are different. They aren't commands or alerts. They're connection. A conversation that doesn't need grammar. Some breeds, like huskies or malamutes, are known for this. But even quiet dogs, those who rarely bark, will sometimes let out a little sound when you're close. It's how she joins your rhythm. She hears your sigh and answers it. Older men who live alone often hear these moments more clearly than others. In a world full of loud noise, these soft sounds carry weight. They say, "I'm still here. I hear you. You're not alone." And what's most remarkable? She didn't learn this from a book. She learned it from loving you. Because when a dog speaks without words, and you learn to understand, what you have isn't just a pet. It's a bond beyond language. And that's exactly what we'll explore as we bring this journey full circle. That lick you feel every morning, on your hand, your face, maybe your wrist. It's not just a habit. It's not about salt. It's not about routine. It's her way of saying something she'll never be able to put into words. "I trust you. I choose you. I'm with you, always." And once you understand that, you'll start to see everything else differently too. The way she follows you from room to room, the way she watches you breathe, the way she puts herself between you and the world. That's not obedience. That's love, in its purest form. For many of us, especially as we grow older, it's easy to forget what loyalty feels like. But your dog? She's never forgotten. And every lick is her way of reminding you. So let me ask you this. When was the moment you realized your dog loved you, not just liked you, but truly, quietly loved you? Was it the first lick? The way she sat at your feet? The way she waited outside the bathroom door? Leave a comment and share that moment. I read every one, and I know others will too. Because sometimes hearing someone else's story helps you appreciate your own. And if this video spoke to you, even just a little, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Not for me, but for her. Because this kind of love, it deserves to be seen, remembered, and passed on. Have you ever looked into your dog's eyes and wondered, are you trying to tell me something? Not with words, of course, but with a soft stretch when you come home, a quiet sit outside the bathroom door, or a deep sigh as they lay beside your bed. For many of us, especially after 60, our dogs are more than pets. They're our companions, our constant presence, the heartbeat in an otherwise quiet house. One woman said, "It's just me and her now. She understands me better than anyone else ever did." Today, you won't just learn about dog behavior. You'll learn how your dog says, "I love you," without ever speaking. These 10 strange little habits, ones you might have missed or brushed off, are actually love letters written in body language. And if you've ever lost a dog, if there was once a King or a Bella, or a faithful friend who still visits your dreams when it rains, this journey might bring back a memory or two. It might make you pause, smile, and maybe, just maybe, take a deep breath and feel that love all over again. So, let's begin. And finally, hear what your dog has been trying to say to you all along. You walk through the door, and there it is. That funny pose your dog drops into, front legs stretched out, rear end in the air, eyes sparkling with joy. Most people think it's just a stretch after a nap, but it's so much more than that. It's called a play bow, and in the dog world, it's one of the clearest invitations to connect, bond, and share joy. When your dog does this the moment they see you, they're not just limbering up, they're bursting with emotion. That stretch is your dog's way of saying, "You're finally home. I've waited all day for this." It's their version of a welcome home parade. In one heartfelt comment, a viewer wrote, "When I heard what that stretch really meant, we nearly cried. These dogs are for real." And they are. That simple bow carries years of love, loyalty, and excitement, packed into a single moment. Research shows that dogs release a burst of dopamine, the brain's feel-good chemical, when they see their favorite person. It's not just excitement, it's emotional reward. And when they pair that dopamine surge with a play bow, they're not just happy, they're honoring you. So the next time your dog drops into that pose, don't walk past it. Don't shrug it off. Kneel down, smile, and give them a moment. Because to your dog, that stretch is more than just a greeting. It's a celebration of you. You close the bathroom door, and there they are. Waiting, sitting, staring, refusing to leave. It might feel a little awkward, maybe even a little funny. But to your dog, it's a serious matter. They're not being nosy. They're standing guard. In the wild, private moments like eating, sleeping, or relieving oneself are when animals are most vulnerable. And in your dog's eyes, the bathroom is just that, vulnerable. They don't understand privacy. They understand protection. To them, a closed door is not a signal to back off. It's a signal to lean in. One viewer summed it up with a laugh. "I am well defended when I poop." And it's true. That little body pressed against the doorframe is love in the form of watchfulness. It's your dog's way of saying, "If anything happens, I'll be here. I've got you." Especially for older adults who live alone, this quiet companionship becomes even more powerful. The feeling of being seen, cared for, even in the most mundane moments, brings a sense of safety that goes beyond words. So next time they follow you into the bathroom or wait just outside the door, don't be annoyed. Be touched. Because behind that persistence is a heart that refuses to leave you unprotected, even for a minute. It might seem strange, or even a little gross, when your dog licks your feet. But what they're doing is far from meaningless. In fact, it's deeply emotional. Your feet carry your scent, your sweat, your stress. To your dog, that scent tells a story. Dogs have something called Jacobson's organ, a special sensory structure that allows them to taste emotions through chemical signals in your sweat. When your dog licks your feet, they're not just curious, they're checking in. They're asking, "Are you okay? Have you had a hard day?" And if they lick more than usual, it may be because they sense your tension. They're trying to comfort you in the only way they know how, with presence, with closeness, with love. As one study found, dogs can detect the chemical markers of stress in a person's breath and sweat, often before the person is even aware of their own anxiety. Think of it this way. While others might ignore your silence or dismiss your mood, your dog notices. They respond not with words but with a gentle touch of the tongue, a kind of emotional first aid. So the next time you feel low and your dog licks your feet, don't pull away. Let them stay close. Because in that simple, quiet moment, your dog is trying to lift a little of your burden and carry it with you. There's a moment that can confuse many dog owners. Your dog walks over, sits down, and turns their back to you. No eye contact, no tail wag, just stillness. At first, you might wonder, did I do something wrong? Are they upset? But what your dog is doing is the opposite of rejection. It's pure, wordless trust. In the animal world, turning your back means exposing your most vulnerable side. It's a risk, one that wild dogs rarely take unless they're among those they fully trust. So when your dog does it to you, they're saying, "I know you'll protect me. I feel safe with you." It's one of the highest compliments your dog can offer, not through affection, but through confidence. And for many older adults, that moment speaks louder than words. When your body starts to slow down and your world grows quieter, having a living soul lean into you with trust can fill a silence that no music or movie ever could. One simple gesture makes it even more meaningful. When you place your hand gently on your dog's back, you're answering that silent message. You're saying, "You can rest now. I'm here." So the next time your dog turns away and stays close, don't call them back or ask them to move. Let them be. Because they've already told you something beautiful. They feel safe enough to let their guard down. And that's love in its bravest form. You're sitting quietly when your dog walks up and drops a toy at your feet. Maybe it's a squeaky ball, a ragged stuffed animal, or even a soggy sock. At first glance, it looks like a simple invitation to play. But if you pause for a moment, you'll see something deeper. Dogs don't just give up their favorite toys for no reason. They're offering you something they cherish, something they could have kept to themselves. And in doing that, they're saying, "This is mine, but you're more important." In wild packs, sharing resources is a sign of deep trust and connection. It shows a willingness to give, not out of obedience, but out of love. When your dog brings you their toy, they're not just asking to play. They're giving you a piece of their world. Some dogs even bring socks, shoes, or random household items. It's not mischief. It's contribution. They're trying to be part of your life, to bring value to the pack. One viewer shared, "My dog brings me socks every morning. It's her way of saying good morning. And isn't that the most tender thing? A small act, repeated quietly, day after day. So next time your dog places something at your feet, don't just toss it aside. Accept it. Smile. Thank them. Because in that gesture is a heart saying, I love this toy, but I love you more. You're talking to your dog, maybe about dinner, maybe just rambling, and suddenly their head tilts to the side. That little movement melts hearts across generations. It's cute, yes, but it's also something far more profound. It's your dog's way of trying to understand you. When dogs tilt their heads, they're not just being adorable. They're adjusting their ears, focusing their senses, and zeroing in on your tone and emotion. Research suggests dogs even tilt to the left when processing feelings and to the right when interpreting commands. It's not random, it's intentional. It's work. Imagine this. Your voice is the most familiar sound in your dog's world. They've memorized your footsteps, your laughter, your sighs. And when you speak, they want to catch every drop of meaning. Because to them, your mood matters more than anything. Many viewers shared that their dogs tilt their heads during serious talks or when they're feeling down. It's as if the dog is saying, I'm listening, I don't understand all the words, but I understand you. And isn't that what we all want? Especially later in life, to be truly heard. That small tilt isn't just a reaction, it's recognition. So next time your dog gives you that sideways glance, don't just smile and move on. Say something back. Let them know you see them too. Because in that moment, your dog is leaning into your world and opening theirs. Night falls, and your dog curls up next to you, or maybe right against you. Sometimes they press their back into your legs. Other times, they sleep with their head on your pillow. It might seem like a search for comfort, but to your dog, it's more than that. It's safety. It's trust. How your dog sleeps near you tells a story. If they face the door, they're guarding you. If they sleep touching you, they're drawing peace from your presence. And when they lay with their back pressed to yours, that's the ultimate sign of confidence. They're showing you their most vulnerable side and trusting you to protect it. Science supports this connection. Studies show that when dogs sleep close to the people they love, both their oxytocin and beta-endorphin levels rise, hormones that bring relaxation, bonding, and emotional well-being. It's a kind of healing that happens in silence, heart to heart. For many older adults, this companionship becomes the most intimate relationship in their lives. One viewer shared how their dog insists on sleeping between them and their spouse, always finding a way to stay close. That little body becomes a warm wall of love, night after night. So if you wake up and find your dog tucked beside you, know this: it's not just a sleeping spot. It's a message. They feel safest with you. And in a world full of noise, fear, and change, being someone's safe place might just be the most beautiful role of all. You walk into the room and notice your favorite sock is missing. Again. Maybe it's under the couch, maybe tucked into your dog's bed. It's easy to laugh or get annoyed. But before you scold, pause for a moment. Because this isn't mischief. It's love. Your scent, strongest on your socks, your shoes, your worn t-shirts, is like comfort food for your dog's soul. When you're away, those items become their connection to you. Curling up with something that smells like you is your dog's way of saying, I'm not alone. You're still here with me. One viewer shared, My dog brings me socks every morning. It's her way of saying good morning. But not every story ends so lightly. Another person warned, my dog swallowed a sock and needed surgery. $2,000. But she just missed me too much to leave it alone. This behavior, while sometimes risky, comes from a deep longing, a desire to hold on to you in any way they can. Just like a child holding their parent's shirt at bedtime, your dog seeks the comfort of your presence, even in your absence. So next time your dog steals your laundry, try to see it differently. It's not destruction, it's devotion. You are their home, their whole world, and they would rather be wrapped in your scent than anywhere else. You step into the kitchen, and there they are, right in the middle of the doorway. You move to another room, and once again, they're sprawled across the threshold. You might trip, sigh, or laugh it off. But your dog isn't trying to get in your way. They're making sure they don't miss a single moment of your life. To us, doorways are just passageways. But to dogs, they're transitions, entry points, strategic locations. From that spot, your dog can see you coming and going. They can move with you if needed. It's their way of saying, I'm watching, I'm ready. Some dogs do this out of habit, others out of instinct. And for many older pet owners, it becomes one of the most tender parts of daily life. A reminder that someone is always looking out for you, even in silence. One comment described it perfectly. It's not about control, it's about love. My dog lies in the doorway not to block me, but to protect me. Another said, she follows me from room to room, as if afraid she might miss something important. And that's exactly it. To your dog, nothing is more important than being close. Not because they fear losing you, but because your presence is their purpose. So the next time you nearly trip over that familiar furry speed bump, take a breath. Smile. Because behind that inconvenience is a heart that simply wants to be near yours all day, every day. You hear it when the house is quiet. A long, slow exhale from your dog. Maybe they're resting near you. Maybe they've just curled up on the floor after following you from room to room. That deep sigh might sound like boredom or sleepiness, but to your dog, it's communication. Dogs sigh for many reasons, but when they do it close to you, after a reunion or a quiet moment together, it often means one thing. I'm content, I'm safe, life is good again. It's an emotional release, a physical signal that their world feels right because you're in it. Researchers have noted that dogs use sighing to shift emotional states, like resetting their inner peace. And if your dog sighs when you return home after being away, it's not a coincidence. It's a sigh of relief, a quiet declaration. I missed you, but now that you're back, I can finally relax. One viewer called it the reunion sigh, and that phrase stuck. It's not loud. It doesn't demand attention, but it carries the weight of loyalty, love, and longing. For those of us who've lived long enough to know how rare that kind of trust really is, that sigh is more than just sound. It's a reminder that someone out there waits for us, breathes easier because we're near, and rests fully only when we're home. So the next time you hear it, don't dismiss it. Let it wash over you. Because in that quiet moment, your dog is saying what words never could. Now I can breathe again. So now you know. That little stretch at the door, that's not just loosening up. It's your dog saying, you're the best part of my day. That toy dropped at your feet, that's not just play. It's a gift wrapped in love. And that sigh at the end of the night? That's not just air. It's your dog telling you, now I can finally rest. You're home. These behaviors, quiet, subtle, often overlooked, and are your dog's language of the heart. They don't use words, but their actions speak louder than most voices ever could. For those of us who've had dogs walk beside us through seasons of joy and grief, those moments become sacred. And if you've lost a dog, if there was once a tail that wagged just for you, paws that followed you from room to room, you might be feeling a familiar ache right now. That's okay. It means you loved deeply. And it means you were loved back just as fiercely. So here's what I'd love for you to do. In the comments, tell us, which of these signs does your dog do? Or did they once do? What's the one small thing they did that told you, I love you, without ever saying a word? And if you've ever seen your dog hide during thunderstorms, tremble at loud noises, or retreat under the bed, you won't want to miss our next video. 7 fears that quietly break your dog's heart. Thank you for being here, for loving your dog, and for listening, not just with your ears, but with your heart.